Okay. Good evening. Good evening. Please have a seat. We are ready to get started. Hello, I'm Judy Hoffman, a member of the League of Women Voters of Evanston, and I'm a Skokie resident. I live and vote in Skokie. I would like to welcome everyone here this evening on behalf of the League and our co-sponsor, the wonderful Skokie Public Library. This is, give them a hand. This is the first of two forums this evening for Skokie District Trustees. This forum is for Districts 1 and 3 and is scheduled to run for 45 minutes. Candidates, I want to say something to you. You are the first. You are pioneers. You are the first ever Skokie District Trustees, and we want to thank you for your willingness to serve the community and stepping forward. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Following this forum, these candidates will go to the other room, the Rodmacher room, and we'll be able to speak with you there. And then those candidates will come in here for the second forum. A little housekeeping. Please make sure all your phones and other electronic devices are silenced. Yes, I see everyone reaching. Please do so. And also, photography of the stage is okay, not of the audience members, but no flash photography. But there's no video or audio recording of the forum allowed. But the good news is this forum is being filmed in its entirety, and it will be available on both the League and the library websites once this full week of forums are complete. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. The League works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, observes governing bodies, and provides information for the voters at election time. The League does not support or oppose any candidates or political parties. If you'd like to find out more about the League, you can stop by our table in the lobby. We'd like to thank our student volunteers from Niles North High School for their valuable assistance for all 3 nights of the forums. We couldn't do it without them. They are serving as ushers and as timers, so they will be alerting the candidates when their speaking time is up. I know we're all grateful to see our students active in the democratic process. Thank you very much. Questions for this evening are a compilation of submissions from Skokie community organizations, individual Skokie residents, and the League of Women Voters. We received many excellent questions, but due to time, we're not able to use them all. But thank you for your contributions. Now, for all League forums, we engage a moderator that resides from outside the voting district. Tonight, we are honored to have Lynette Foss from the League of Women Voters of Lake Forest, Lake Bluff as our moderator. Lynette lives in Lake Bluff and has been a member of the League for 10 years. She has served on the League board for 7 years and is an active candidate for moderator all over Chicagoland. By day, Lynette is a professor of biology at Lake Forest College, and she also runs a musical and educational talent agency called Lyric and Lecture. And she also sings and plays keyboards in several bands. So I'll hand it over now. Thank you, Lynette.
I promise I won't break into song. Thank you, Judy. It really is an honor to moderate this historic forum. So thank you, candidates. This forum is meant to give a large audience the opportunity to hear from the candidates. Audience members are expected to remain silent and in their seats. Anyone who violates this will be asked to leave before the forum can continue. Thank you in advance for your compliance. Candidates have agreed to a set of ground rules in order to participate in tonight's forum. They may use no electronic devices or visual aids, but they may have paper. They must answer the questions within the designated time limit and refrain from personal attacks in their opening statements and answers to questions and the closing statements. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce your candidates for tonight in alphabetical order according to district. From District 1, Patrick Blackwell. From District 1, Kimani Levy. And from District 3, Lissa Levy. We'll begin with the opening statements and then get right to the questions. The candidate who answers each question first will go last for the next question. Opening statements. Candidate Blackwell.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Skokie residents. My name is Patrick Blackwell. I've been a resident of Skokie on and off in Evanston for the past 30 years. One thing that really motivated me to take initiative to become a trustee was the moment I saw James petitioning outside of Jules to make a change. I saw that and I was like, you know, that's something that I want to do because I've seen people in my community. I don't live on the nicest block. I don't live in a big house. I live on a block full of 3 flats, families that live together, different cultures. It's like the United Nations on my block. A lot of people may have heard of my block a lot because it has had a lot of hard times in the past. It's off of Lawler and Church. My mother was the head of Neighborhood Watch on that block. She changed that block dramatically. I have statements from the Neighborhood Watch police that will come by and just praise my mom. Recently, my mom passed away a couple of years ago from cancer. That actually double motivated me to make a change because I see how the community is not equal, how I see how renters don't provide dignity for families to move in and provide them an affordable way to live. Either their apartments are trash with rats, stained carpet, nothing's being fixed, and you can live right next to a person who owns a 3-flat next to them, and it is gorgeous. These disparities have really touched me and made me want to do more for our community. Also, I see a lot of our youth don't have engagement. They're either victimized or villainized by the community because they are not led in a constructive way to do things to uplift their community. I was fortunately to be involved in OGA, Officer and Gentleman Academy in Evanston, and I've seen that change, what it does and helps to at-risk youth, and I want to implement that in Skokie as well.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 1.
Good evening, everyone. I started my journey in the North Shore. I grew up just like Patrick. We went to high school together at ETHS. I thought about moving out of the North Shore area and decided to stay. I have 2 disabled parents in Glenview, and with 2 small children, ages 3 and 5, I decided that Skokie was going to be the place where I wanted to plant my roots. I joined the Public Safety Commission, hoping to ensure, I was a little nosy, but hoping to ensure that the area is safe for my 2 brown babies to be raised. And from that, I wanted to grow more. I wanted to learn more. I started attending the village board meetings and learning more about the community, learning more about Skokie. There are several constituents that I meet with and talk to and try to understand the business community, what's happening with downtown Skokie, understanding what's happening in my personal community where I live. And this prompted me, in addition to, and it sounds very cliche, my children to want to run for this seat. I want Skokie to maintain what it is today, the reason why we all live here today. It's vibrant, it's diverse, it's friendly, it's welcoming. And this just motivated me in addition to being tapped on the shoulder. But I want Skokie to remain what it is and then some. There's always room for improvement. We can grow, we can learn, we can innovate, we can build on the strong foundation that we currently have. And so by being here with you, listening to your thoughts, listening to what you need in the community, I'm hoping to learn more and continue to grow and apply that to this village. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 3.
Hello, everyone. My name is Lissa Levy. Many of you know me from Meetup on Main. I've lived in Skokie for 10 years now, and it has been a real adventure learning about this community. And first off, I want to say I really, really love Skokie. I loved living here. I love raising my kids here. In many ways, for me, Skokie represents the very best of what we hope for ourselves and for future generations. That being said, we have a lot of areas of improvement that we really need to pay a lot of attention to. In the experience of working with the community for Meetup on Main, what I learned is that we all really want the same things. We want vibrant, walkable neighborhoods. We want sustainable development. We want equity in terms of how resources are distributed throughout the community. And all of those things are very reasonable and very fair. And the reason that I chose to run was largely because I was encouraged by various members of the community. So, I do want to say, I don't have any formal government experience, but what I do have is a very long track record of solving comprehensive problems with diverse groups of people. And even though I'm running unopposed, I really would like you to know that I am engaged, I am available, I want to know, I want to help, and I want our village not just to welcome everyone to Skokie, but to celebrate and support everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. And now on to the questions. Candidate Blackwell, you'll start this one. What do you believe are the top 3 challenges that the village as a whole faces today?
Well, start with number 1, affordable housing, so that people who grew up in Skokie, that has families that's been here for decades, can continue to stay in Skokie and continue to have an availability for their families to stay in Skokie. That's one of the biggest challenges I see right now. A second one would be just to find the right balance of business, big business, and community business. I think that we don't have a big enough share to have people in the community that have their businesses. It seems like a lot of the headway and a lot of what's been put out there is only to support big businesses more than small businesses. So I want to see that change. And number 3 is crime. I mean, I just see Skokie as just being, we're right off the expressway. It's a haven for people just get off the 94, off of Dempster or Tui, come in, break into houses, and go right back on the expressway. We need to find a way to implement something that's going to definitely deter them from entering Skokie and also have more of a community presence and watch your neighbor. You know, we're all neighbors. Hey, look out for each other.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, same question, District 1.
Similar to candidate Blackwell, housing and affordability, but also availability. There are instances where maybe our more seasoned population doesn't have availability to ADA accessible types of housing. So I think that in addition to maintaining affordable housing is one of the challenges. Another one of the challenges is economic growth. I feel like Skokie can be reactive, and when businesses want to come in, they'll consider it and think it through. But I don't feel like the village does a lot to draw businesses to Skokie to help us maintain economic growth and build on that economic growth, and maybe implementing some sort of innovation in that economic growth. The other challenge that I think Skokie has is collaboration and transparency across all forms, not just in the government state, but there needs to be more collaboration across, better collaboration across, and maintaining the open lines of communication and transparency.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 3.
Okay, well, I certainly echo the severe affordable housing situation in Skokie. It's borne out in many ways. Renters who are not able to move because they can't afford the market rents, housing stock that's old, developments that are not focused on what the community actually needs, in addition to other sustainability issues. I would say that another huge challenge facing Skokie is the village and the community disengagement. That many times coming to the village to do almost anything is an exercise in frustration. And it shouldn't be that way. To have a Skokie that works for everyone means that you should be able to walk into the village and do your business with dignity and ease, and that people should be helpful and want to engage with you. And the last challenge that I see that Skokie faces is general responsiveness to the community. And that touches on so many different issues. Obviously, transportation issues, obviously, affordable housing issues, obviously, the ways that the government engages with the community. So,
Thank you. The next question will be given to Candidate Levy first from District 1. Candidate Levy, what specific issues in your geographic district do you think need to be addressed by the village board?
I've been meeting with some of my constituents, and one of the issues that I hear a lot is the affordability and property taxes. It can indirectly be addressed by the village board. Our assessor determines what our property taxes and our property values. So having the village trying to figure out ways to maintain where we are, and they've been doing a phenomenal job at that for the last 15 years, being able to address that in different innovative ways and trying to think is probably going to be the most helpful in that particular situation.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 3.
So I think it's pretty obvious if you drive down Main Street or Oakton or various areas in Skokie how disinvested and blighted those things are. That's one of the main reasons behind my candidacy. So in District 3, we definitely need economic investment that has an eye to what the community actually wants. So in this case, local small businesses. We have a pretty significant housing crisis in District 3. We are very short of housing. We have situations where we don't have enough rentals in District 3. So, for example, if a family goes through a divorce, the children often lose the stability of that family unit, but then they also lose the stability of their school situation because they have to move out of district, and that's really unacceptable. That's not welcoming or taking care of our community. So I think there's probably going to be a lot of opportunity to talk about how all of these issues interconnect, but I would say economic investment and housing issues are pretty major for District 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell.
Well, let's talk about safety. District 1, I can tell you about a year and a half ago, on my block, someone speeding down my block. Is a cul-de-sac on Lawler. And my uncle told him to slow down. There's kids outside playing. The gentleman refused to slow down, got out the car, approached my uncle, and pulled out a firearm. Now, this escalated. Luckily, I am a concealed carry holder, so after I seen that, I was on my property. I had called the police, came outside, my firearm, and I asked the man, lawyer firearm, we could talk about this, police are on their way. The gentleman insisted to come back at my uncle, who is probably like almost 50 years older than this gentleman. And he unlawfully discharged his firearm in the air. This all came off of just a misunderstanding of, not even a misunderstanding, but an argument over a speed bump. There's been recently another shooting in Skokie right down the street from my block a couple of months ago. These are things that I want to work on and fix. I think this is a big issue in our district, and we need to have things that we can put in place, mechanisms to prevent these type of situations from happening.
Thank you. The third question will be answered first by candidate Levy from District 3. What is the role of the village to encourage or control economic development, and what tools seem to work best?
Oh, I love that question. That's great. Okay, well, the village is really supposed to be the person who takes care of you. I mean, that's what we should be doing. So if we're having issues in our village, we should be able to go to the government, the people that we have elected to serve our needs, to actually do that and follow through. So I envision the role of the village as being one that is nimble and responsive and takes account into the needs of the various different interests, but with the most focus towards who actually lives and works here. We certainly benefit, for example, from the tax revenues of Old Orchard. There's no question about that. But that doesn't mean that those are our golden handcuffs. We deserve as a community to have economic investment everywhere. We deserve as a community to have safety and traffic calming streets everywhere. We shouldn't be thinking about how we can shore up what our own personal needs are, but how can we take care of all of us as a whole? I don't have a simple answer for that because things come up as they do. I'm going over time, sorry.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Oh, I will repeat it. What is the role of the village to encourage or control economic development, and what tools seem to work best?
Well, the role of the village is, as Lissa pointed out, to take care of the community, to actually do things and put businesses and things in place that actually benefit the ones who live here. And I know there's a lot has been built up about, tourism. We have things that are, buildings and projects that are just left dead and in limbo because nobody's discussing these things. They don't really reflect our community. I don't even think that a lot of people who are aware that these things are in our community have been left for limbo. You can just drive down Oak in downtown Skokie and you can see, projects that are half done. I think that we just need to have things in place and have more input from the community and actually listen when they say, when we want certain things and we feel like we need these things. We know best in our communities because we've been living in them for years and decades. And for a developer to come in and just offer something, or a business to come in and offer something that doesn't really fit Skokie, I think we should have a say-so. I think that the body and everyone should listen. That's why I like that we're separating people that have to be living in their districts to run for trustee, because we know best what we need in each district. And then if we all work together, we can build something that's going to be powerful, something that will resound and have everyone's voices heard no matter where you live at in Skokie, because you have somebody representing you from your neighborhood.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 1.
I agree with both of the candidates to my left and right. I feel like the village has started to implement some research and innovation to foster the type of economic development that needs to happen, with making safer roads, for example, and there are rules or regulations in place when developers try to come in and build in Skokie. But the biggest thing that Patrick said that I think is most important is the communication piece and the transparency piece. The village is here to take care of us, but if there is no communication and transparency, there's no message getting to where it needs to be. I've seen situations where the village may have decided to move on something that wasn't in the best interest of the community, and it got fought, and at the end of the day, it was just a wash, but there wasn't anyone that went in and spoke to the constituents and had that communication and tried to figure out why are you fighting this so hard. So I think that lack of communication needs to happen, or the increase of communication needs to happen.
Thank you. The next question will go to candidate Blackwell first. Candidate Blackwell, do you believe that the current Skokie housing policies need to be changed? Please explain your response.
I do think they need to be changed. One thing that I notice is we have these landlords who are not held accountable. When they don't, I feel like the inspectors don't inspect the buildings. They don't really look at things that are wrong. Because I mean, I've been on trips and seen rental apartments with friends to try to get them to move to Skokie, and I was horrified. I asked them, "Are you going to paint? Are you going to, put new carpet down on floors when there are urine stains and things of that nature?" And we need to have someone in place for the city that actually is holding these people accountable, because I think that's one of the biggest things in my district, District 1, that's going on in Skokie. It is so disparaged from block to block, and there are certain landlords that do stand out. You can see the signs in front of their buildings and look at their lawns and look at their, the backyards and look at their apartments, walk in the hallways, and we just don't own up to that. We just walk past and look and turn a blind eye. So I think that's the one of the biggest housing things that's going on in Skokie right now.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 1.
I'm going to agree with candidate Blackwell in that we do need to have some sort of regulatory process for landlords. I have also seen situations where there's housing that is just not livable. But there needs to be something similar to like a CHA where someone's going in and inspecting and making sure that these conditions are livable. I guess the flip side of that is what we're doing with developers coming in and like what percentage of their developments are affordable housing. Those are going to be nice and new, and they're going to be, well-maintained properties. So being able to marry the two and have these new developments that have affordable housing that are nice and they're new and they're well-maintained, in addition to having this regulatory process, would put us in a better situation for all of our residents.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 3.
So absolutely, the ordinances in Skokie for housing need to be changed. Number one, 7% affordable units in new housing developments is not really even enough for what Skokie needs. If we are actually serious about taking care of our community, then we really should be closer to 15%, which other communities in the North Shore are and have a 15% minimum for new developments. So that was a huge missed opportunity with the recent Old Orchard development, which I do not oppose. I love the idea of a mixed-use, multi-unit development that combines all kinds of services and transportation and all kinds of great things. That development's great. Why is it only 3.5%? Why could we not even get to the minimum of 7%? Why aren't we developing walkable and sustainable and mixed-use developments everywhere? Well, part of it is that we have really draconian housing ordinances as well. So there's a whole overhaul that needs to happen, and we need to have an eye to what is fair, what is right, and what serves our community. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question will go to Candidate Levy, District 1 first. Candidate Levy, What do you see as the role of Skokie government in maintaining and promoting environmental sustainability?
Good question. It's a hot topic, and of course, we want to keep where we live safe and comfortable for our future generations. But not just that, our planet as a whole. We're in situations where we have plastic in our waters and garbage, and we're not recycling properly. And these are all impacting our not just our village, but our state, our country, our planet. The village, again, is there to protect and serve the community. So if we're not doing all of the things, we can't just like pick and choose the tiny bits that we want. We should look at everything holistically. We would look at our health holistically. Why wouldn't we look at how we live and where we live holistically? So I think that the village should also be in tune with what is happening around the country, what is happening in other countries, and do the research. Look at what is happening, what they're doing, and maybe we can implement those similar things here in Skokie as well.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 3.
I think the role of Skokie government really needs to be at the forefront of imagining what's actually possible and what we want. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these issues are intertwined, right? So if we have an environmental sustainability plan, that speaks to transportation issues, it speaks to housing issues, it speaks to compost, it speaks to recycling, it speaks to community engagement. If we had better public transportation, that would lower our emissions. That's huge. If we had composting in the way that we have garbage and recycling pickup, that would be amazing. The role of the government is to help make these environmentally sustainable choices easy and as a gift to our community and as a gift to our planet. It's kind of baffling to me that we sort of separate all these things out. So I don't know what else to say about it, but we should be at the forefront of figuring out these problems and not leave it to our residents and our businesses to go piecemeal on this or that, who has solar panels, who has whatever. You know, we can be the drivers of this imagination.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell.
Well, I do know that we have a lot of new construction planned and new construction happening. Sustainable materials, we could lead the way on that. I'm not sure what the lead status is, what is the city of Skokie is actually holding these developers accountable for, or where that percentage is on having, green roofs, having things that are implemented, wind, solar, how much of that can be implemented. But that's something we should definitely look at. We should also all be involved in that. And like Lissa said, and Kimani, I do feel composting, that's one thing when I first came to Skokie, I was like, whoa, we don't, there's no yard waste, no receptacles or anything to compost, or, they're not taking that, which, I have a little old lady who comes and she'll bring her yard waste to the middle of the cul-de-sac, and then the city will pick it up and things of that nature, but I'm not sure where it's going. Just for us to be informed and know what we can do better and how we can do it better. I see Old Orchards, implementing, which was great, charging stations for when you have, electric vehicles. I would like to see more of those around Skokie, not just at Old Orchard. Maybe just because a lot of people in our community have these electric vehicles, but may not have the resources or the funding to get subsidies to put a charger on our house or even afford it. So to have something closer that's not, we all don't live close to Old Orchard or want to drive over there just to charge our car. We can talk as a community and do these things to make us more eco-friendly and more conscious of what we do in and lower our footprint.
Thank you. The next question goes to candidate Levy, District 3 first. How have you informed yourself about Skokie residents who face health and economic challenges and what the village's role is in assisting them?
Okay, so how do I engage with the public about their health and economic challenges, and then subsequently, what is the village's role?
That is the question, yes.
Okay. So personally, I'm out in my community all the time. So for me, I'm talking to my friends, my neighbors, other people around, and I learn a lot. I come to events like this. I come to other community events. So I hear a lot about what the needs are. And what is the village's role? Well, again, intertwined with all of these things, the village's role is to help our residents be able to access the care they need, fill in the gaps where they don't have it. I think it's really lovely that we can borrow wheelchairs and walkers and things of that nature for short-term disability issues. I think we need to, as a village, make sure that our buildings are accessible, our roads are accessible, our businesses are accessible. I think we need to make sure that we have housing that's affordable for people who have health challenges. And again, all of these things are related. So if we're imagining our community holistically, then all of these things should come and fall into place as we're having a mind to a focus on our residents and community.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell.
Well, I work in dental, and one thing that I noticed a lot in working in dental over the past 20 years is that when it comes to the dental, it's looked as the stepchild of healthcare. A lot of things that we diagnose and find in dental first relates to plaque in your teeth, cardio problems. You can have similar things that's going on. We find oral cancer before a lot of other symptoms occur. But one thing is, dental insurance is not a given, and I think that the city of Skokie, that we could take a more of initiative in helping our elderly and our people who in the community who are disabled, who can't get to the dental office, to put more emphasis on helping them get there, to helping them be able to take care of their smile, because these things add up before you get into a point where you're in a hospital for cardio problems or blockage because you have plaque in your teeth, because you haven't had a cleaning in 3 years because you couldn't get there because of transportation. Like Lissa said, these are things that, having these roads in wheelchair accessible clinics and making sure that, we have the proper things in place, that not only that the city's subsidizing, but us as a community is looking at each other and our neighbors and being able to help each other in that sort of way. I don't know too much about what's going on with the hospital on Golf. I've seen it just slowly deteriorate, but we need to have more accessibility, even if there's clinics that our community can get to easier.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 1.
So similar to Candidate Levy, I have been out and inquiring with my constituents. Prior to being placed on the ballot, I would attend several village board meetings and be in the community and asking questions. So that is the way that I come to understand and know what is happening with the health and economic status of the community. I think the village's role in this is to speak up and to inform, be present and let them know what is available to them. I really appreciate the fact that Skokie is one of very few municipalities that has a health department. So it's important to let our constituents know what is available to them. Niles Township has several resources available to our community. So just informing and letting them know what is available to them, and then listening and taking that information back and being representation for our constituents to say, hey, this is what's happening in my community, we need X. Maybe we should consider Y. But I think it's important, one, to inform, and then two, to be the representation and take that information back to where it needs to go.
Thank you. We have time for one more question. This question will be posed first to Candidate Blackwell. How and how frequently will you communicate with your constituents? And how will you facilitate their efforts to communicate with you?
Well, I'm a door knocker. One thing I haven't done, and that's just me, I don't have a website. I go to every door. I've been through the community, all through, to go to golf all the way down to Maine, to meet people in different communities, to talk to them. If I'm elected, I still feel that way. I will knock on your door, see how you're doing, check on you, letting you know I'm accessible. You can always reach out to me. And the way that I will facilitate that, I will take all your concerns, all of your questions, anything that you may have that you thought of, you can email me, and I will bring that to the board, bring that to the table. Everything will not be taken care of in a timely manner, but believe it, when I tell you, I will bring it to the table and try to get you heard to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Candidate Levy, District 1.
So communication's an interesting thing to me. I'm currently an adjunct professor at DePaul, and I teach effective business communication. So that is something that I want to believe that I'm pretty good at. I hope that I'm doing a good job at it. But I do the same. I like to be out. I like to be out and about, seeing. There are some people that know me because I've always got two toddlers trailing behind me while I'm out and about chit-chatting and getting to know people, walking through my community, trying to understand what's happening. I do have a website, so people can communicate through that. I can give you my cell phone number. You can have my email address, whatever works. And I will do my best to communicate back in an efficient manner. But I'm an ambivert. I like meeting people. I like going out. I like talking to people. I like being in networking situations and having conversations, knowing what's happening, understanding what's happening with people. And just like the last question, sharing it back. It needs to get back to where it needs, the people need to hear it to make a difference, to make those changes happen. So I think that is the best way to do it.
Thank you. And Candidate Levy, District 3.
So I'm very available. If you go to my website, there is a phone number that works. You can call it. If I am free, I will pick up. I was out of town this weekend. I was on a hike. A constituent called me. I talked to her for almost the entire hike. Happy to do it. And I intend to be as open and as accessible while serving. I think it's incredibly important to be able to reach the people who are representing you so that they're representing you accurately. And I believe in that communication both ways. So one of the things I think that is a big challenge right now is that the village is not proactive with their communications. So one of the things that I think would be very helpful is to work closely with Meredith Joya, who is the head of communications for the village of Skokie, and to make sure that when we have to make difficult decisions, that we're being proactive about why we have to make certain decisions the way that we do. Because without that piece, we feel disengaged, we feel unheard, we feel angry, we feel frustrated, and we're not in a community that reflects our values. And so communication is the start of all of those very, very important baseline issues. If you feel heard by your representatives, then you are more engaged, and you are more confident, and you have more stake and pride in your community.
Thank you. It is now time for closing statements, and we will go in reverse order this time. So Candidate Levy, District 3.
Well, you don't have much of a choice. If you live in District 3, I'm what you got. So I hope I've answered some questions to your satisfaction, but you're certainly welcome to come talk to me later. You're welcome to talk to me another time. And I am deeply honored that so many in the community have encouraged me to run and represent them. And I look forward to taking care of District 3, of course, my baby, but also the whole of Skokie. I know that we can move forward in this era of really scary times, and we can protect our community and we can take care of each other. And I look forward to serving you. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell, or I'm sorry, Candidate Levy District 1.
Yes, just like Candidate Levy, I hope that I can serve you to the best of my ability during these tumultuous and scary times. And I welcome the opportunity to engage with you, talk with you, listen, have you be heard, because that's what's most important. I want to take the information back to where it needs to go so that you have the resources, you feel like you're heard, you can build on what you started, your family, your community, whatever it is you're trying to do. I want, like I said at the beginning, I want Skokie to remain a good, vibrant, loving, diverse, happy place to raise children. And I want to stay here and raise my 2 boys. And I want them to see this, the community that comes out and comes together and wants to do the same. They want to keep the community vibrant and diverse and happy and loving. So hopefully I can do that for you. My big pitch, just go vote. If you vote for me, if you vote for this gentleman, just vote, because that is your way to communicate what you want. Get out and vote, and just let your vote represent what you want.
Thank you. Candidate Blackwell.
Well, Skokie, you did it first. You did vote for change. You voted to have choice. Now we have choice. All the candidates up here, including myself, are here for change and choice. I think that no matter who you vote for District 1, you're going to get a good candidate. You're going to get a candidate that actually cares about your community. A candidate, we may look at things differently and have different approaches, but we want to get something done. Kimani's correct, vote. Our district has a very low voter turnout, but we have high registered voters. But when it comes down to the local elections, we just don't go out and vote. Let's make some change. You know, we voted big to make this change. Let's not just let it waver and just willy-nilly. Let's do it seriously. Let's have our voices heard. And then, you know, Skokie is setting precedents for a lot of other municipalities and communities. Let's show us that we're going to do something great with what we did. You know, we want choice. We're going to get choice. We're going to have a community that grows and flourishes. We're going to have great candidates every 4 years coming up so that we can have a different perspective, not just the old status quo, because things change. Presidents change. Life changes. You know, technology changes. So why can't your trustees change with the times when we need them to change? That's all I ask. Go out and vote. Let's make a change.
Thank you. Well, our time is up. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, I would like to thank the audience members for attending tonight. Civic engagement is very, very important. And most of all, I would like to thank the candidates for agreeing to present tonight and share their points of view.
Thank you for having me.